From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, July the 17th, 2017. The Temple Mount compound in Jerusalem's Old City was reopened yesterday after it was completely shut down on Friday following the deadly terror attack in which 2 Israeli police officers were murdered by 3 Arab Israeli terrorists who used firearms that were reportedly hidden at the holy site. Israel police searched the Temple Mount for more weapons over the weekend. Jerusalem Police Chief Yoram Halevi told Army Radio yesterday that a number of knives, slingshots, and stun grenades were among the weapons found, but no live ammunition or firearms were discovered. Police reopened the site yesterday after installing metal detectors and security cameras at the entrance. However, Muslim worshippers are staying away in protest. The Waqf, the Muslim religious authority that manages the site, as well as other Islamic groups, condemned the security measures that Israel put into place, claiming that they violate the status quo at the site, and called on Muslim worshippers to boycott the, quote, Israeli aggression measures. The status quo relates to the policy agreed to by Israel with the Palestinians and Jordanians that Jews are not allowed to pray at the Temple Mount. The entrance for tourists to the Temple Mount and Jewish visitors, by the way, already has metal detectors in place. Israel's decision to close off the Temple Mount on Friday is said to be the first time it has taken that measure on a Friday since 1969. I will speak more about the aftermath of the terror attack with Israeli Ambassador Danny Ayalon when I sit in for Mark Golub on In the News after this broadcast. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the situation at the Temple Mount while in Paris this weekend, where he reiterated that the status quo at the Temple Mount will not change. Netanyahu flew to Paris Saturday night and met yesterday with newly elected French President Emmanuel Macron. The two took part in a ceremony in Paris yesterday marking 75 years since the roundup of thousands of French Jews at the Valdiv Stadium in Paris during the Holocaust, who were deported from there to their deaths at Auschwitz. Netanyahu spoke to those gathered, many of them Holocaust survivors.
75 years ago, a heavy darkness descended on this city of lights. The Nazis, yes, the Nazis and their collaborators in France and Jacques Chirac and successive French presidents deserve much credit for telling the truth. They shattered the lives of thousands of French Jews at Valdiv. It seems that the values of the French Revolution, liberty, equality, fraternity, these values were crushed brutally under the boot of anti-Semitism.
Macron spoke as well, acknowledging France's responsibility in the events of July the 16th and 17th of 1942. Macron said of the mass arrests, France organized it. Not a single German took part, he said, in orchestrating the notorious roundup. Macron said he rejected the notion that the Vichy, the government in power during World War II, was not France. Macron also assured Netanyahu of France's support for Israel, saying, "We will never surrender to the expressions of hatred. We will not surrender to anti-Zionism because it is a reinvention of anti-Semitism." Netanyahu departs France tonight for Hungary, where he is set to meet Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban at the parliament in Budapest tomorrow morning. And by the way, we will have more about the tragic events at Valdiv on tomorrow night's In the News. A new Holocaust Memorial is being built in Brazil. The mayor of Rio de Janeiro, Marcelo Crivella, laid the cornerstone for the memorial on Friday. It features a 72-foot-tall tower and is being built at a park named for assassinated Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. Crivella said even 70 years after humanity experienced this terrible tragedy, we still see all sorts of persecution, discrimination, and injustice in our world. With the Holocaust Memorial, he said, Rio de Janeiro joins other major cities on the planet in revering the victims of this genocide. Academy Award-winning Jewish actor Martin Landau has died. Landau's 7 decades-long career began with an appearance in Alfred Hitchcock's 1959 film North by Northwest. In 1968, he won a Golden Globe for his work on Mission Impossible. He was twice nominated for an Oscar, winning the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for the 1995 film Ed Wood. Landau also performed on Broadway. He trained and later was part of the leadership until his death of the legendary Actors Studio. He died on Saturday at the age of 89. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Monday, July the 17th. At 7 o'clock, we bring you highlights of the opening of the American Jewish Committee's Global Forum 2017, with remarks from Bernard-Henri Lévy, Bill Kristol, Tzipi Livni, and an address by U.S. National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster. Then at 9 tonight, Mark Golub sits down with Israeli journalist Ben-Dror Yamini, who talks about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. At 10, a look at the future of U.S.-Israeli relations discussed by Dalia Rabin and Aaron David Miller, moderated by journalist Ethan Bronner from the 92nd Street Y. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, former Israeli ambassador to the United States, Dani Ayalon, speaks with me about the Temple Mount terror attack and its aftermath when I sit in for Mark Golub on tonight's In the News. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, July the 17th, 2017. I'm Teisha Bader.